Viridian, the Green Guide by My Head in the Clouds, Not Coming Down, a Boku no Hero Academia fanfic. Chapter 26. Just Try. You should go mingle. Katsuki rolled his eyes at Amplifier. Yeah, 'cause a 5-minute conversation with an asshole is really gonna help these extras reintegrate into society. They were currently doing an exercise where the villains broke into smaller groups and talked about what they had done wrong. Something about admitting their mistakes out loud or something, giving them the power to fix them. Katsuki thought it sounded fake. But maybe it was just because he was too big of a coward to admit what he'd done. I'm just saying. Amplifier nudged his arm gently. You've been coming to these meetings for weeks, and you still haven't made a single friend. There were reasons for that. One, Katsuki didn't want to do anything to jeopardize his chances of being a hero. Well, anything more than he'd already done. Which was what led him to his second reason for keeping these extras at arm's length. They were better than him. How shitty was that? A bunch of convicted villains with tracking bracelets on their leg were better than the great Katsuki Bakugo. Sure, they had done bad things, but at least they had good reasons, be it discrimination or money troubles or even just bad friends. But Katsuki, he was just a jerk. Maybe the whole volunteering thing had been a mistake. These people didn't need someone like Katsuki dragging them down. Hell, if he was going to admit it though, and he had made a promise, he was going to fucking keep it. Go on, Amplifier smiled at him encouragingly. If you talk to one of the groups for 3 minutes, I'll let you brood for the rest of the time. Deal? I'm not brooding. Katsuki glared at her, but Amplifier just smiled. Damn, that face always worked at the people at school, even the adults. Katsuki was going to have to step up his intimidation game. Eventually, he sighed. You'll stop bitching at me to be social? She nodded, still smiling that infuriating little smile that meant Katsuki had lost, and she knew it. Still grumbling, he made his way to the group with that tentacle-haired freak that kept trying to talk to him. What was his name? Ogawa? Whatever it was, it didn't matter, because Katsuki was there to get Amplifier off his back, and then he'd be able to go back to, well, it wasn't brooding, goddammit. Katsuki grabbed a chair and sat on it backwards so his arms were resting on the back. The villain who always wore pigtails, she said it had something to do with her quirk, just finished her story. So, yeah, she shrugged. I robbed a couple of places. What are you gonna do? They were insured, so it's not like I was hurting anybody. Katsuki scowled. Yet another way he was worse than these scum. Even when committing crimes, they didn't hurt people. Whereas Katsuki had spent 10 years hurting people for fun. He sucked. I don't think that's really the point, Ogawa said. Just because no one was hurt in the end, doesn't mean that stealing was the right thing to do. Maybe it has more to do with the effect our actions have on us, you know? Like what kind of person we're becoming. Katsuki couldn't help scowling. Never took you for the sentimental type. Ogawa grinned. Haven't spoken to me enough to really make a judgment, have you? Whatever, Katsuki huffed. So, what about you? What kind of person did your actions make the great tentacle-haired extra? The other villains in the circle laughed at the nickname. But Ogawa simply frowned and thought about the question for a minute. I think it made me lost. My crimes were never very big, like I never committed any felonies or anything, but I don't know. I was just obsessed with the thrill more than anything. I think my mistakes made me selfish. And what's wrong with being a little selfish sometimes? The Frankenstein-looking villain asked. Katsuki really needed to learn these people's names, or at least come up with better nicknames for them. There's nothing wrong with it, Ogawa said quickly. It's just not who I want it to be, you know? I don't want to be the kind of guy that only thinks of himself. What do you think, Bakugo? Pig-tailed bitch asked. You ever made a mistake? Too many to count, Katsuki thought as he glared at her. You fuckers might be comfortable wearing your hearts on your sleeve, but don't you drag me into this. Technically, you dragged yourself, Ogawa laughed. Unlike the rest of us, you volunteered to be here. Yeah, well, how else was he gonna learn how to not be so shitty? There's only so much someone can improve from doing a Google search, and someone like him didn't deserve to be a hero, much less number 1. But, again, he wasn't just gonna say that. Fuck off. Ooh, Pigtail said. Looks like we hit a nerve. So you did do something. 'Cause with a reaction like that, it sure as hell wasn't nothing. Maybe I never made a mistake in my life. Did you ever think about that? Katsuki snapped. Or maybe I just don't like you. Frankenstein gave a booming laugh. Yeah, I'll believe that. Hey, lay off him for a minute. Ogawa put his hand up to stop the teasing. It takes a lot of trust to open up like we have been. We can't scare Bakugo off when he just got the courage to talk to us. Fuck you. Give it some time, Bakugo, Frankenstein said. We're not so scary once you get to know us. I'm not a goddamn coward. The lie tasted bitter on his tongue, and he hated it. Why was he being so fucking weak? Thankfully, Amplifier saved him from further pestering by calling their attention to the front. Katsuki was about to go back to his place, standing against the wall, but before he could stand, Ogawa looked at him and cocked one eyebrow knowingly. Smug bastard. So Katsuki scoffed and settled back into his chair, determined to prove that he wasn't scared. He already lost to Amplifier when she accused him of brooding, so there was no way he was about to let Ogawa win by saying that Katsuki was too scared to be social or some shit. He'd stick around, get to know them, still hate them, and that would prove that smug little tentacle-haired bastard was wrong. Katsuki already hated himself, so it's not like he had any pride to lose anyway. Izuku picked at his dinner, not feeling hungry, despite how good the food looked. Mom had somehow picked up on his mood and come home a little early to make him katsudon, which once succeeded in making him feel even worse. First he had gone out with a broken arm, and then he got into a fight with Eraserhead, and then he couldn't hide his guilt enough to keep his mom from worrying. He was the worst. I think I'm gonna save this for later, Izuku said, finally. I'm not really hungry right now. Mom frowned at him, but nodded. Is everything all right, baby? There aren't any problems at your new school, is there? No, school's great. I don't think I've ever enjoyed school more, Izuku said frantically. I'm glad. Mom gave a small, genuine smile. But you don't have to hide things from me, baby. I know you hid the bullying because you didn't want to worry me, but I want to know what's going on in your life. I'm strong. I can take it. Izuku laughed as his mom flexed like All Might, pushing up the flabs of her arms to make it look like muscles. After a moment, Mom couldn't keep a straight face and started laughing too. It's moments like these that were almost worth living for. Almost. Izuku bit his lip. He couldn't tell Mom about the whole thing with Eraserhead, because that would mean telling her about the vigilantism, which she did not deserve, no matter how strong she was. But maybe he could hint at something of it. Well, they're this guy I was running into online sometimes. Well, online was pushing it. But he did talk to him through the computer whenever he hacked into the hero comms. We run in a lot of the same circles. A boy? Mom teased. Should I be worried about someone stealing my baby's heart? Izuku blushed and grimaced. Ew, no, it's not like that at all. He's like a grumpy old uncle or something like that. Gross, no. Mom chuckled. All right. Still, you need to be careful about people you meet online. Even if romance isn't involved, I don't want some creep showing up at our house all of a sudden. Don't worry, I'm very careful with my identity. Izuku smiled briefly at his inside joke before letting his face fall as he continued. But we kinda got in sort of a fight. Now I'm scared he'll be disappointed in me. Mom sat down next to him and started rubbing circles on his back. What makes you think that? He thinks I should worry about having friends, Izuku muttered. But I don't have any friends to be worried about. Mom's eyes started to shine like she was about to cry. Oh, baby. And it's fine, Izuku said quickly. I mean, I haven't had friends in years. And online school is great. Like I said, I run in the same circles as this guy, and they don't seem to hate me yet. Which is better than I usually get, but I just can't help feeling like I've disappointed him, because maybe I haven't been trying hard enough. Mom was silent for a moment, still rubbing his back. Well, you don't have to do anything, but if you wanted to go out and try to make a friend, then I'd support you. If it works, then problem solved. And if they're a jerk, then at least you can tell this guy you tried, right? I guess that could work, but who would I even... Izuku paused. He didn't know a lot of people outside his middle school, and anyone from there wasn't going to work for this experiment. Who did he... Oh, there was that electric kid that worked at the hardware store. who seemed kinda nice. He glanced up at the clock. Yeah, the store should still be open for a couple hours, so if he left right now, he might be able to run into him. Izuku hopped, making Mom yell in surprise. I gotta go. I'll text you if things work out. Mom blinked a few times, then smiled. All right. Just don't get home too late. I don't want you walking around in the dark. Good luck, baby. Izuku grinned at her as he left, then closed the door and took a deep breath. Thanks, he said softly. I'm gonna need it.